Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you could join me today. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you like those beautiful scenes that I show you in the beginning of my videos. I do it because I want to motivate you, I want to inspire you, and I want to set the tone for the video. And I know some of you probably don't want to see all that scenery, you just want to see the tutorial. That's okay too. You can always fast forward or hit the timestamps down below. You know I always put them down there in case you want to skip forward. But anyway guys, I'm very happy that you're here with me today. I'm going to be doing a tutorial for those beautiful bracelets that you saw in the introduction. And I'm going to be using the beads from the Curated Bead box for the month of April. So if you subscribe to that box, you're in the right place. And if you don't subscribe, that's okay too. You can still make those bracelets. I'll leave a detailed list of all the materials down below in the description section of this video. And if you're new and you haven't subscribed to my channel, please think about doing so because it helps my channel and it helps me as a content creator to create more videos for you. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can be notified whenever I release videos. Now, if you're not familiar with a Curated Bead box, I'll leave a link down below so you can go check it out. But basically, Curated Bead box is a monthly bead subscription box that includes all kinds of things such as beads, charms, pendants, and other items specially selected with unique color combinations and themes. There are usually enough items to make a number of pieces such as bracelets, necklaces, and earrings. The box goes for $20 a month, which includes shipping in the USA. And if you don't want a subscription, you can always just buy the box individually. They actually do offer previous boxes on their website. One of the nice things about this box is their Finding Starter Kit, which usually comes in either silver or gold. And if you're a beginner wondering where or how to start, this is the perfect box for you because the Finding Starter Kit includes crimp beads, elastic, beading wire, memory wire, head pins, jump rings, ear wires, and lobster claw clasps. So there's no need to go out and buy anything extra because everything you need is included, except for the tools, of course. Anyway, like I said, I'll leave a link down below along with a coupon code for 35% off your first subscription box. The coupon code is Luisa35. So anyway, guys, I'm very anxious to jump into the tutorial, so let's go ahead, turn the camera around, and we'll get started. Okay, so here's the box. As you can see, the name of the box is Light My Fire. Let me go ahead and pull out the beads. I want to definitely use one of these as a focal. Okay, I think these are gorgeous. And I believe these are 12 millimeters in size. I'm going to be using some of the beads from this strand here. I love the pattern on these beads. I think they're gorgeous and I love the colors. And these are 8 millimeters in size. And these are also 8 millimeters in size, and I love this color as well. And I think they coordinate really nicely with the previous strand. I want to use some of these tube beads. Okay, these are slightly curved tube beads, as you can see. I'm going to use these Filigree 6 millimeter beads. Now these are going to be a little bit challenging to thread onto stretch cord, but it can be done, and I'm going to show you how. Okay, let me go ahead and pull out the stretch cord. Here it is. As you can see, it's pretty thick, and I'm pretty sure you get at least 36 inches, maybe 40 inches. And that's it from this box. Okay, so for those of you who have the Curated Bead box for April, let me just go over the names of these beads real quick. This is the 8 millimeter pale orange Jade-style glass bead. Okay, this is the 8 millimeter Apricot Swirl marble style glass bead. And this one here is the 12 millimeter orange marble style glass bead. And these are the 6 millimeter gold Filigree Metal beads. And I did pull out these two bead caps from the August box, okay? The name of the box was Sizzling Summer, and these are 10 millimeters in size. And I thought I would use them on this 12 millimeter bead. I thought it would really dress it up. But you don't have to use bead caps if you don't want to, guys, okay? You can just use the beads as is. And here are a few of the curved tube beads. I'm not going to use too many of these. I'm just going to use them on one of the 3 bracelets that I'm going to make today. And of course, I am going to be using my magic rods, okay? And if you're not familiar with this product, I carry it in my Etsy store and I use it to create bead patterns. And they're very helpful for stacked bracelet sets because it helps me to create lengths that are the same. And one of the nice things about magic rods is that you can load all kinds of beads, bead caps, nuggets, seed beads, large beads, small beads. Now the only thing that I'm not going to be able to load are the tube beads, but I have a solution for that, okay? So if you have the magic rods and you want to use tube beads, stick around because I'm going to show you how to do that. And guys, you don't have to use magic rods, okay? I don't want you thinking that you can't make this project. You can use a beading board or your mat. It's up to you how you want to do it, but this is how I do it, and I find these very, very useful. And I guess the other thing I like about these magic rods is that they have stoppers, so I can bring the stoppers in close to bring my beads in up against each other, and that helps in terms of getting accurate lengths. So now I'm going to create some bead patterns for my bracelets, and like I said before, the curved tube is not going to go on the magic rod, so I have a solution for that, and let me show you what that solution is. You're going to need some wire, okay? And this is actually very soft wire. This is aluminum wire, but you can use any kind of craft wire. You definitely want to make sure that it's nice and straight, okay? And now I'm going to snip off a 2-inch length, approximately. So here's my wire. And now I'm going to take a tube and insert my wire through the tube. Like this, okay? I'm going to kink the wire at the very end. You want a nice sharp kink right there, like that, okay? And now I'm going to snip off the excess right where the tube ends. So you want to use the flush side of your cutters and come in here and snip off the end, just like that, okay? Remove the tube. And this is exactly how long my curved tube is, okay? Let me put it down for a second. And now I'm going to use a couple of pieces of the silicone tubing, and you can get this anyway, guys. This is very easy to find. I get mine on Amazon, and I will leave a description of the diameter size tubing that I usually get, okay? It's very reasonable and very easy to find. And I actually use this with my memory wire bracelets as well. If I'm designing with my Coil Buddy Kit, I like to use lengths of silicone tubing instead of the curved tubes when I'm designing on the magic rods, okay? And if you don't know what the Coil Buddy Kit is, I'll leave a link down below as well, but it's basically a tool that I use to create bead patterns for memory wire bracelets. I'm sure some of you have seen my videos on that, but if you haven't seen my videos on that, I'll leave a link down below in the description section of this video. So anyway, let me show you how to do this. What we're going to do is insert this piece of wire into the silicone tubing, like this, okay? And because it's transparent, you can see exactly where you need to cut it. So now using the flush side of your cutters, you simply come in here and snip off right where the wire ends, okay, just like that. And now I have a placeholder for my curved tubes that I can use with my magic rods, okay. Let me go ahead and cut myself a few more off camera and I'll be right back. So here I've cut myself a few more, okay. Let me put these up here for now, okay? So now that I have my beads and my tubing and everything, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So when I'm designing with my magic rods, I like to start with the focal. So I like to put the focal at the end, and then on this side are the bead patterns for the bracelet, okay? The rest of the bead patterns, okay? So let me go ahead and start with the focal, and I'm going to start with this big bead. And like I said before, I'm going to put a bead cap on it because I think it really dresses it up. So there's my focal bead, and I really like that. I think it looks gorgeous. And for this first bracelet, I think I'm going to use these beads here. These are really nice. So I'm going to load a few. I don't know how many I'm going to load just yet. I'm just experimenting, but let me just go ahead and load 5. Okay, and I really like how that looks with this large bead. So now to break it up, I'm going to use one of these filigree beads. And these are a little bit challenging to load because the holes are kind of small, but they go on pretty easily on these magic rods. It's going to be challenging later on when we put it on the stretch cord, and it will require a little bit of patience, but we'll see how I do, okay? So now let me continue the pattern. I'm going to load another 5 of these gorgeous beads. I love the colors of these. They're so spring-like. And now let me go ahead and load another one of these filigree beads. So this is what we have so far. Now before I go any further, I'm going to put a stopper back on, okay, so I don't lose the beads. And guys, when you're working with stoppers, you really do need to be careful, okay, because they do stretch after a while, and if you're not careful, they will slide off, okay. So I'm always really cautious when I'm working with my magic rods. I try not to be too aggressive because I don't want to lose my beads. It has happened before. The more you use them, the looser these stoppers get, okay? And that's why when you purchase magic rods, I always try to include a packet of quite a few of these stoppers, okay? So now let me bring them together, and I'm going to measure this length. And I'm trying to get a length of 7 inches. And right now it looks like I'm at 3 3/4, okay? So I'm not sure how I'm going to finish the bracelet, but I'm going to go ahead and load the same pattern on this side of the focal bead, okay? So let me remove the stopper, and I'll load 5 of these. So this is what we have so far, okay? And before I go any further, let me put a stopper on and I'll measure it. Let me slide these stoppers in so the beads are up against each other. And now let's go ahead and measure it. And it looks like I'm a little bit over 7 inches, as you can see, and I want exactly 7 inches. So this is a problem that I need to solve now, okay? Obviously this configuration is not going to work. And by the way, I did not put a filigree bead on this end because we have this one here, okay? So when you go to tie it in a circle, it's going to bring the beads together, okay? I hope that makes sense. But anyway, guys, I'm going to redo this now because I want 7 inches exactly, okay? So let me go ahead and try something different now, okay? I'm going to reduce the number of beads. I'm going to have sets of 3 instead of 5 and see how that works out, okay? So once again, I'm loading a filigree bead and then 3 of these apricot swirl beads. Let me put a stopper on this end. And I'll flip it around and do the same thing to this end. And I'm going to end with a filigree bead. So this is what we have so far, okay? And now let me go ahead and put a stopper on at this end. Let me slide the stoppers in to bring the beads in close. And now we'll measure it. And it's right at 7 inches, okay? So I'm pretty happy with that. So I think I'm going to go with this, guys, okay? It looks really nice and it measures exactly 7 inches, which is what I want, okay? So this is the first bracelet. So now I'm going to build my second bracelet and I want to use this color this time, okay? So let me go ahead and remove the stopper. And I'm going to load 4 of these this time instead of 3, okay? So my patterns are going to have 4 of these beads. And I'm going to break it up with a filigree bead in between. So I'm going to continue loading these 8mm pale orange jade style beads and the filigree beads in between. Let me go ahead and put my stopper on so I can measure it. And I don't need the ruler, I can just simply hold it up against this one, okay? As you can see, I don't have the exact length that I need, so I'm going to have to redo this now. So I think what I'll do is change the bead pattern, and instead of 4, I'll do 3, just like I did on this one, okay? Let me remove my stopper. Let me go ahead and put my stopper on now. Bring the beads up close and let's see where we're at. As you can see, it's still too short, okay? I need it to be 7 inches just like this one. So I need to add something at the end. And after trying a few configurations, I tried the 4-bead configuration and now the 3-bead configuration. I'm simply going to backfill that with some of these filigree beads, okay? So that should take care of the problem. Let me show you. If I add 2 of these filigree beads, it should take care of the problem. Let's have a look, and that looks pretty good, okay? Let me go ahead and put my stopper on. Let me bring the beads up close. And that looks perfect now, okay? So when I form a circle, these 3 beads are going to be together. In fact, let me go ahead and move this one to this side so it's not confusing, okay? And now, as you can see, we have these 3 together, okay? And I'm probably going to hide the knot inside one of these beads here. So this is perfect, okay? When I go to form the circle and tie the knot, I'll simply slide the knot inside this bead here because the hole is relatively big, okay? So this is my second bracelet. I'm pretty happy with it, okay? I think that looks really nice together. So now I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do for the third bracelet, and I do want to use these tubes. So I'm going to use these as my placeholders, okay? These silicone tubes. So let me go ahead and start with a filigree bead. Just like that. And then I think I'm going to do a little bead pattern. So I'm going to have a filigree bead, a jade bead, and another filigree bead, just like that. Okay, and then one of the tubes. So I'm going to use my silicone tubing as the placeholder. Okay, and now I'm going to repeat the same pattern. So let's do a filigree bead, a jade bead, and another filigree bead. And now another tube. All right, so far so good. Let me repeat this bead pattern again. Let's see what we have now. I like how that looks so far, but now I have to figure out what I'm going to put in this space here. And I think to tie the whole thing in, I may use some of these beads here. So let me go ahead and load some of these beads. And by the way, guys, I want to show you this. This happens from time to time because of the finish on the beads, okay? And if you come across one of these, it's very easy to separate. All you have to do is get some cutters and very carefully slide the cutters in between the two beads like this. And now very gently separate them like that, okay? It's not a big deal. Let me go ahead and load a few more. I want to make sure that I load just enough, okay? I don't want to load too many because I want it to be 7 inches exactly. So that looks about right. Let me go ahead and slide the stopper on and we'll bring everything up close. So this one looks like it's about the same as these two, okay, 7 inches. And that's exactly what I want. So I think I'm going to go with this, guys, okay? It looks pretty good to me. So now I'm going to remove the rest of the beads and leave 3 of these tubes out because I'm going to need 3 for this bracelet here, okay? Here's my stretch cord. I'm going to cut a piece that's 11 inches long. You want 2 inches at each end, okay? So if your bracelet is 7 inches, then you want to cut 11 inches to give you 2 inches at each end to tie the knot. Now before you start, you need to pre-stretch your cord, okay, because it will stretch out with wear, okay? So once you load the beads and you tie the knot, it's going to stretch out a little bit if you don't pre-stretch it, okay? And the beads may end up loose. So it's a good idea to pre-stretch it before you actually load anything on. And you don't want to overdo it, okay? Okay, now that I've pre-stretched it, I need to think about where I'm going to hide the knot, okay? Ideally, you'd want to hide it inside the hole of one of these beads. So let me take a look and see if this one has a big enough hole. And I'm not sure if it does. So now what I'm going to do is go back to the strand and see if I can find a bead that has a bigger hole, okay? Some beads have pretty consistent holes and you're not going to be able to do that. But I think these are a little bit different. Some have bigger holes than others. And this side has a bigger hole than this side, as you can see, okay? So let me look at the other beads and see what I can find. I found this one here, which has a pretty big hole, as you can see. Okay, so I think I'm going to use this one on the end. So you do need to think about that before you load anything because you want to make sure you can hide the knot inside the hole. Okay, so let me put a clip on this end of my cord. I'm going to go ahead and load this one. And now let me load these other ones. And you can do them one at a time like this, or you can do them in multiples. And because the rods hold them in alignment, sometimes you can do more than one, okay? It just depends on the beads. Now these filigrees are a little bit tricky because they have very small holes. So usually what I do is I go in one end like this, and then I hold the bead upright, and then it just, gravity just helps, okay? It doesn't always work out that way, but you do need a little bit of patience. Let me show you again. You go in one end like this, hold the bead upright, wiggle your cord around until you find the opening. Let's see if it'll poke through. There it goes, okay. And now for this placeholder, what I'm going to do is remove the placeholder and put a tube on. Like this. Let me continue loading these beads. Okay, as you can see, I finished loading the beads. And now I'm going to go ahead and knot it, and everybody does it different, guys, okay? This is just my method. What I normally do is I take my right hand, my right cord, and I go under, okay? And then I go over the left one like this and pull, bringing the beads close together, okay? And now I take the left side and go over my right, and then take the tail and go through the loop like this and pull. And that brings the beads up close to each other like this, okay? You want to do little tiny tugs because you want that knot to get small, okay? You want it small and you want it tight. And I usually pull the tails and then I pull the bracelet as well. And that looks pretty good, okay? Now I'm going to take the left cord and go over my right and go through the loop again like this and pull. And once again, you want to do little tugs, okay? Until you get that knot nice and small. And that looks pretty good, okay? I'm not going to do any more than that because I feel that the glue and the knotting that we just did is sufficient, all right? I don't like big knots. Now, if you wanted to do another knot on top of that, you certainly could, but you're not going to be able to slip it inside the bead, okay? So I think this kind of knotting along with the glue should help, and it should be enough. I'm going to use GS Hypo Cement. I like to use GS Hypo Cement because it has a very thin applicator, as you can see, and I'm simply going to dab it on very lightly, okay? You don't want too much. Just like that. Once you've applied the glue, you can go ahead and get rid of the tails. So this is what you should have. Okay, and now I'm going to try to slide the knot inside that hole. Just like that. Okay, and hopefully once that glue dries inside that bead, it should be pretty secure. So I would not wear this bracelet, guys, for at least 24 hours, okay, because glue takes longer to dry when it's inside the hole of a bead. All right, so this is my first bracelet, and I think it looks really cute. So now I'm going to load these other two the exact same way, and again I'm going to look for beads that have a big hole at the end where I'm going to do the knot, okay? That's important. Let me move this up. And let's go ahead and take a look at the hole of this bead here at the end. And that hole looks like it's pretty big. So I think I should be able to slide the knot inside this bead. So let me go ahead and get the cord. So once again, you want to measure a length that gives you 2 inches at each end to tie the knot. And for me, it's going to be 11 inches. And always pre-stretch your cord. Don't forget to do this part, okay? This part's very important. And just like before, add your clip at the end so you don't lose the beads, okay? And then go ahead and load all your beads. So I'm going to keep loading these beads until I get both bracelets loaded. I'm going to tie the knots on both of them, speed up the film, and meet you back. You'll be able to see the process. It'll just be sped up. So let me do that and I'll meet you back. As you can see, I finished all 3 bracelets, and aren't they absolutely adorable, guys? They're so pretty and so spring-like. I really love these colors, and I love the combination of beads. Now I'm a little bit reluctant to put them on because the glue hasn't dried yet, but I'm just going to go ahead and show you what they look like, okay? Aren't they adorable? Don't you just love these beautiful colors? They're so pretty. And I really enjoy stretch bracelets because they're so easy to put on. And by the way, guys, the method of knotting that I showed you is very, very secure, okay? When you have stretch cord that is really thick and you have medium-sized beads, it's okay to do a minimal knot with glue on top. And trust me, that knot's going to hold up really, really well. If anything, the stretch cord will break before that knot ever comes loose. I've tested this method many times and it works very, very well. Now, if you had beads that were larger and had larger holes, you could definitely do more knots than what we did. But I didn't want to do a super huge knot using stretch cord that thick because you would definitely see it. So the best solution is to do a minimal knot, add some glue, and slide it into one of the holes of the beads. So anyway, guys, here's the beautiful spring trio, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you can make your own. Let me go ahead and put this away, and I'll come back and say goodbye. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. I hope you can make your own bracelets. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.